Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. Today I have another batch of outrageous stories for you from r/AmITheJerk. Shout out to the people who sent in suggestions for today's stories. Our first story today is, Am I the Jerk? My boyfriend places sheets on all of the furniture when I'm on my period. So I'm a 24-year-old female, and my boyfriend, who's a 28-year-old male, is really protective over his furniture. I assume it's because they're white. This really shows when I'm on my period. My boyfriend does humiliating things like placing sheets on all of the chairs and lounges. I feel like if I were to leak, I'd just leak through the sheets anyway. It makes me sleep in the guest bedroom on the first 2 days of my period, my heaviest days. And then he even asks me about when was the last time I changed my tampon. I'm a grown woman who has had her period since the age of 12. I don't need somebody to remind me to change a tampon. When he does this, I just feel embarrassed, and it gives me the vibe that he cares more about materialistic objects than me. I'm not even allowed to cuddle him during my period. He acts like I'm just gushing like a waterfall or something. I started my period yesterday, and, as I expected, the sheets come out. I decide to put my foot down, and I take off all of the sheets off the furniture, which got my boyfriend irritated, to which I told him that he needs to stop treating me like a leaking juice box. He's saying that I have no right to prevent him from keeping his expensive furniture clean, and that I'm the one acting like a jerk. I need to know, am I the jerk? Not the jerk. There is so much wrong with the boyfriend's behavior, I don't even know where to start. Opie is a grown adult human, not a puppy being housebroken. Most adults with periods are able to go through a day without bleeding all over everything, although even if leaking was an issue, I still don't think this is a good way to handle it. It's fine if you like your furniture, but if you value it more than your partner, then there's a problem. Opie deserves a partner who will treat her like an equal, not like she's a liability for 5 to 7 days out of the month. Our next story is, Am I the jerk for being upset with my son for saying that I don't appreciate my wife? Okay, I don't think I'm in the wrong here, but a few family members have jumped my case about this, so I figured I'd post here on my brother's suggestion. I'm a 40-year-old male. I have a son I'll call Jake, who's a 17-year-old male, and a daughter I'll call Annie, who's a 15-year-old female. Their mom died 8 years ago, and I remarried my wife Kate, 38-year-old female, 5 years ago. My kids actually really like Kate, so it's not a problem between them. So here's the issue. Kate does all the Christmas shopping. I'm very busy as I work a lot of hours usually. Kate works full-time, but less hours, so she also does the majority of the house stuff. The last few years I haven't gotten Kate anything for Christmas. It just doesn't occur to me since she always does the shopping. She's mentioned before that it hurts her feelings, and I always apologize, but it isn't something I really think about, so it ends up happening again. I saw Jake wrapping a gift yesterday and asked who it was for, assuming it was for a friend. He said he and Annie had pooled some money together and gotten Kate a gift for Christmas this year. I told him that was sweet, but that they shouldn't waste their money on gifts for adults. He got upset at that and told me that it wasn't wasting money, that he and Annie just wanted to show her some appreciation since I don't. I said Kate shouldn't be telling him these things, and if she had a problem, she needed to deal with me directly, but Jake cut me off and said that Kate never said a word, but they had eyes. They could see she was the only one without a gift on Christmas morning, and she was the only one who ever cleaned up and did the shopping. I got really angry that he said that, but Jake talked over me, saying how, despite Kate working full-time, I still expected her to take care of them, do all the household stuff, do all the shopping, and even then I wasn't happy. I always found something to complain about. So that even though I knew it hurt her to be discarded, even though she's the one who put in all the work, I still couldn't do something as simple as buy something off Amazon or stop by the store and pick out a card. It wasn't like Kate was high maintenance or had expensive tastes. She just wanted to be acknowledged, and he was surprised she stayed with me for how unappreciative I was. I told him he was being extremely rude to me and left to cool down. I spoke to my brother, who said that Jake was in the right. I was a jerk who didn't appreciate Kate, and that it wasn't like Christmas was a surprise, it was the same date every year, and I had plenty of time to plan for something. I actively chose not to, and it was a real jerk move to try and tell my kids they shouldn't care about her feelings just because I don't. I don't think that judgment is fair at all. Of course I care about her. It's just not something I think about. He suggested I post on here, since I think my son's being the jerk, and he does think I'm being the jerk, to let you decide. Who's the jerk here? OP is 100% the jerk. He can't be bothered to take 10 minutes out of his day to order something off of Amazon for his wife. He makes her do everything even though she is also working full-time, and shows zero appreciation for her efforts. It's nice to see someone finally standing up for her because it sounds like she deserves a lot more appreciation. And a better husband. Our next story is, am I the jerk for being overly snarky to my mother-in-law, making her feel unwelcome? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I've been married to my husband, who's a 28-year-old male, for 3 years. We've been together for 5. Right away, I noticed how his mother was so controlling and intrusive. He had to have a shared bank account with her. If she wanted something done, he complied. If she made a demand, he caved. Now, I am a very outspoken person who doesn't take a lot of crap, so when she tried this stuff with me, and I refused to bend to her will, it did not go well. I swear she had never heard the word no in her life. My then boyfriend started to notice, and confirmed he hated how he was living, and I helped him become more independent and confident. By the time we moved in together 1.5 years later, he had no issue telling his mom no. So naturally, she hates me. She's a massive boundary crosser, and while I get some pushback from my husband at times, a civil discussion results in a compromise, or him agreeing with me because she's completely in the wrong. For example, the main boundary was no unexpected visits. We left a key at her place for emergencies, and she would use it whenever she wanted. We changed our locks and revoked her key privilege, so she stole his keys to make a copy. We changed the lock again and had the keys stamped with "Do Not Copy." She was furious, and I explained that she crossed the boundary so much she was now on a 30-day timeout, and every unexpected visit restarts the clock. 74 days later, she's off timeout. Well, with the current situation, husband was laid off and he takes care of all the house stuff. Easy because there's no kids. While I, a nurse, have seen my hours go up. I work 116 hours in 11 days and have been for months. I'm dead. I'm now back to taking my 5 off and got home to be met at the door with, "I'm sorry." I look and mother-in-law is there. I ask if he invited her and he says no, so I figure, fair game. Now this day at work had been messy. A man pulled his calf and sprayed me with pee among other things. I need a shower and I say I'm going to shower. She scoffs and says to come give her a hug and have a chat first, and I said, "Ma, I have another man's pee in my hair, but if you really want a hug," and walked toward her with arms outstretched. She just went, "Ew, disgusting." Husband and I giggled. When I came down, husband mentioned dinner was in the fridge and I went to heat it up. She says, "What, you're not going to make us dinner?" "No." Huge scoff. "Well, usually when you have guests over this late, you make them dinner." I just went, "Oh, Mom, you're not a guest. Guests are invited." And she lost her mind. "I'm not coming over anymore. I'm not welcome. I just won't stop by." I just asked, "Do you promise?" And she stormed out. Husband thought it was hilarious. Father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law all think I'm a huge jerk. But I figure you came uninvited into my home, knowing we hate it, and expected me to wine, dine, and entertain you? This is my house. I'm under no obligation to be nice to you when you again cross the biggest boundary we have. But even some of my friends are saying I'm the jerk, so Reddit, what's your verdict? I'm going to say not the jerk. She came into the house uninvited after OP had worked a long and frustrating shift, and then had the audacity to suggest that OP should make her some dinner. Like, no, you don't get to violate people's boundaries and then throw a fit when they don't welcome you with open arms. Our last story for today is, am I the jerk for correcting school papers in front of my ex-wife's husband? She remarried a few years ago and made it clear that she wanted no more kids. That really upset him. He awkwardly tries to bond with our kids, and a few times he's crossed boundaries. I really have no relationship with him, but there is tension between us. My oldest started middle school, which required updating his registration information. My ex said she used the same information as before, but I wanted to change my email address. I went to his school and my ex's husband was there. He was dropping off some stuff for my ex. I didn't acknowledge him until I saw the paperwork for my son. The information was written out not by her but by her husband. He had listed himself as the parent and me as other contact. I looked at him and said, "Really, Brent?" He looked at me and asked, "What is it now? You put yourself as Tyler's dad?" "It was a mistake if I did." "Yeah, okay, well, it's a mistake I'm correcting right now." It was embarrassing for him, and I clearly put him on the defensive without warning. Like I said, I don't talk to him. He told my ex I made him feel like a criminal in front of everyone. My ex understood correcting the information, but said there was no need to call him out like that. All I said is that he won't do it again based on how I handled it. Update. My ex and her husband have asked me to apologize for causing a scene in the office. Not to them, but to the office staff. Their logic is that my ex and I did a lot of volunteering at the school when our other son attended, and the plan was for her and her husband to volunteer again. He feels like he's been pegged as a weirdo after I called him out over an honest mistake. I asked her what exactly he was going to be volunteering for. She said he wanted to work in the classroom or special events. I told her that isn't going to fly with Tyler having Brent at his school like that. I'm going to say not the jerk. Not only was that an overreach on the stepdad's part, but it could actually make it so that OP doesn't receive pertinent information about his son. If the son were to become injured at school and OP is only listed as other contact, then the school's not going to call him unless they can't reach the wife and stepdad. It's important for the school to have accurate information about who the son's parents are legally, and by calling the stepdad out, OP has alerted the school to the possibility of the stepdad trying to shut out OP in the future. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like or letting me know in the comments. I post new videos twice a week, on Wednesdays and Sundays. I'm also a weekly guest on Brian's Advice on Thursdays, so hop on over to his channel if you want to see more of me. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.